All right, today we're diving into something that feels like it's straight out of science fiction. We're talking about a new AI that's not just another tool for data scientists, it might actually be the new data scientist. We're going to unpack the research behind this thing because it's sparking a huge debate about the future of one of the hottest jobs in tech.
So let's just get right to it. No beating around the bush. The big question on everyone's mind is this. Is the data science job totally obsolete? I know, it sounds a little dramatic, right? But honestly, it's the central question we have to ask because of the technology we're about to break down.
Now, the reason we're even having this conversation is because of a pretty wild claim coming out of some new research. Get this. A single AI has been built that can automatically handle the entire data science workflow. And I mean the whole shebang, from digging through messy, raw data all the way to spitting out a finished analyst-grade report. And look, this isn't just hype or some clickbait headline. The researchers who built it are saying that automating this whole process, from raw data to a deep research report, has been a kind of holy grail for the field. It's been this huge, long-standing challenge, and now they're saying it's actually becoming feasible. This one quote really sets the tone for a massive shift.
Okay, so how in the world is this even possible? Let's get into our first section here and meet the AI that's making this huge leap from just being a helpful tool to, well, becoming the data scientist itself.
The key idea we need to wrap our heads around is this thing called autonomous data science. And no, we're not just talking about automating a tiny piece of the puzzle, like making a quick chart. The goal here is way bigger. It's about automating everything, the tedious data prep, the complex analysis, and even generating the final report with all the juicy insights.
And the AI leading this charge has a name: DeepAnalyze. The paper introduces it as the very first agentic AI for autonomous data science. Now, you're going to want to remember that word, agentic, because it is the absolute key to understanding why this is such a massive deal.
So what does agentic actually mean? Well, this comparison breaks it down perfectly. The old way of doing things involved workflow-based agents. Think of them like a dumb robot on an assembly line. They just follow a rigid, pre-programmed set of steps. If something unexpected happens, they're lost. But these new agentic models, they're completely different. They're more like a detective. They can plan, they can adapt, they learn from feedback, just like a real human data scientist does when they hit a roadblock.
And here's a look at how it actually thinks. DeepAnalyze basically follows a 5-step loop that looks a lot like what a human would do. First, it analyzes the task to come up with a game plan. Then, it dives in to understand the data it's working with. Here's the crazy part. It then writes its own code to poke and prod the data. It executes that code, sees what happens, learns from it, and keeps trying new things until finally, it can answer the original question with a detailed report. It's this continuous self-improving cycle.
Okay, an AI that can think for itself like that is, wow, super impressive. But how on earth did it get that smart? That brings us to our next section, because the way they trained this thing is just as revolutionary as what it can do. So the secret here isn't just about cramming the AI with more and more data. The real magic is in how it was trained. The researchers basically created a training program that copies the way a human learns to be a data scientist. You know, you start with the basics, you master those, and then you gradually move on to the really tough stuff. And they have a name for it: curriculum-based agentic training. It's a two-stage process. First, in stage 1, the AI is basically a beginner. It learns all the core skills one by one in isolation. It learns how to code, how to reason, how to understand data tables. Then, once it's got the fundamentals down, it moves to stage 2 and becomes a practitioner. This is where it learns to put all those skills together to solve messy, complex problems, from start to finish, just like a pro.
And this is really the whole point. As the paper says, this easy-to-difficult approach is what lets the model grow up, essentially. It goes from just mastering individual skills to developing these deep, adaptive problem-solving abilities. It's not just memorizing answers, it's learning how to figure things out for itself. All right, the theory is fantastic, sounds amazing, but talk is cheap, right? Does this thing actually work in the real world? Well, this next section is all about the proof in the pudding. Let's see how DeepAnalyze actually performed when it went head-to-head with some of the heavyweights in the AI world. So, to put it to the test, they used a benchmark called DataSciBench. And you should know, this isn't some simple multiple-choice quiz. This is the big leagues. It's a benchmark built specifically to test an AI's ability to handle the entire data science pipeline, from A to Z. It's pretty much the ultimate stress test for this kind of AI. And here are the results. I mean, the bar chart really says it all.
DeepAnalyze didn't just hang with the big dogs like GPT-4-Turbo and the new GPT-4-O Mini. It beat them, and not by a little bit. It scored significantly higher on a test that is designed to mimic the exact job of a data scientist.
But here's the part that really blew my mind. See that number, 8B? DeepAnalyze pulls off this incredible, industry-leading performance with only 8 billion parameters. To put that in perspective, that is tiny compared to some of the giant models it was competing against. It's so much more efficient. This proves that smarter training can beat brute force. It's not about size, it's about the technique.
And the researchers really drive the point home with this final quote. They state that DeepAnalyze is the first agentic model that can actually do open-ended data research and create analyst-grade reports. Think about that. Not just another improvement, but the very first of its kind. That is a huge, huge milestone.
Which brings us full circle, back to that scary question from the beginning. We've seen what this AI can do. So now, for our final section, let's talk about what this all means for the future of data science and for the actual data scientists.
You know, the paper uses the term paradigm shift, and I don't think that's an exaggeration. This isn't about getting a slightly better hammer. This is about moving from an AI that just follows our instructions to one that can figure out the instructions for itself. The entire game is changing.
So back to the big question. Are data scientists about to be out of a job? Well, maybe not gone entirely, but the role is definitely headed for a massive shakeup. Let's be real. The core technical stuff that has defined data science for years, the data cleaning, the coding, the modeling, those are the exact things this new AI is designed to do automatically.
So what's left for the human expert to do?
Well, you can see the new job description right here. The AI basically takes over all the grunt work, the complex technical pipeline. That means the human's job shifts. It's no longer about doing the analysis. It's about asking the right strategic questions at the very beginning, and then at the end, taking the AI's report and figuring out how to turn those insights into real business value. The job moves from being a technician to being a strategist.
And that leaves us with one last, really critical question to chew on. If an AI can do the entire technical journey, from a messy spreadsheet to a beautiful, insightful report, what is the one human skill left that's truly indispensable in data science? What's our unique value add? It's something we're all going to have to think about. Thanks for tuning in.